I'm Grace Smith, a certified hypnotherapist and expert in rewiring the subconscious mind. Today, we're going to talk about 3 subconscious reasons you might have anxiety. Addressing anxiety you can't pinpoint with your conscious mind is extremely important because it impacts every facet of our lives. It impacts how we show up at work, it impacts our ability to digest food, it impacts how we parent, it impacts our sleep. And so often people think if they can just think positive thoughts at the conscious level, anxiety should melt away. And while positive thinking and consciously making that effort is very important and helpful, most of the causes of anxiety are either physically stored in our body because of a trauma, or they're in our subconscious because of a story that's not serving us. So today we're going to help you truly pinpoint the source of that painful anxiety. Unlike other methods, pinpointing anxiety in the subconscious mind works because we're going to understand the source of where it began, and we're going to be able to permanently rewrite that narrative. So we're not just finding out this information because it's interesting. We're finding out this information so that we can change it permanently. And that's what I want for you here today. So I want to shed light on the real reasons you might have anxiety that you cannot pinpoint, the real reasons anxiety live in your subconscious mind, how to access them, rewrite those narratives, and feel better forever. Make sure you stay to the very end of this video so you can see how I have helped thousands of people overcome their anxiety, and we're saving the very best one for the end. So the first hidden reason for why anxiety might live in your subconscious mind is probably a little bit obvious, and it stems back to our childhood, and it stems back to our parents. Our parents were the ones who had the most amount of impact in programming our subconscious minds. And if you didn't grow up with your parents, then whomever your guardians were. So the truth is, if you've got little ones yourself, you know, as I do, that children learn by watching us, not by what we tell them to do. So you know that saying, do as I say, not as I do? Well, it just doesn't work. That's not how the subconscious mind is formed. Children do what they see their parents doing. They feel how they see their parents feeling. And if their parents have anxiety about certain things, it is highly likely that at least one of the children in the family will absorb that tendency. We tend to be either mimicking our parents or rebelling against our parents. So if one of your parents had anxiety, let's say around money, and you find yourself as you get older and older, approaching the age that they were when you were under the age of 5, finding yourself increasingly anxious about money, it's because you were programmed that way and not on purpose. Your parents didn't do it on purpose. So we're not here to play the blame game. They learned it from someone else too. So if you start to think about, why do I feel anxious when this happens at work? Why do I feel anxious on Sunday nights before, the work week is going to begin again? Why do I feel anxious going into these social situations or when my kids say these things? Ask yourself, which of my parents behaved this way? And then what you can do to pinpoint it, obviously, this is a little bit complicated, and so you might want to work with a Grace Smith hypnotherapist to help you go deeper, but if that's not in the cards right now, what you can do at a very simple level is close your eyes and imagine going back and having a conversation with your parents. So if you were 5 years old and they were modeling for you anxiety around money, money doesn't grow on trees, and, don't break your toy because you're not going to get another one because money doesn't grow on trees. And now all this anxiety about money as an adult, even though perhaps there's financial stability in your life, right? So there are some concerns that make a lot of sense, right? If your bank account is overdraft, it makes sense to be concerned about your current finances. And so a little bit of anxiety about how to rectify that situation is perfectly normal and natural. What we're really talking about here is anxiety that does not reflect reality and is in no way, shape, or form helpful. So if you've got 6 months of salary saved up in the bank and you're under the age of 45 and you're making your mortgage payments and financially you're in a good place, and yet you have this overwhelming anxiety around money, chances are that was modeled to you by your parents or a parent. And so what you can do as a first pass, right? If you want to go deeper with this, you can always work with a Grace Method hypnotherapist, but on your own, close your eyes, relax your body, relax all the muscles in your face, relax all the muscles in your body. Imagine going back, you're 5 years old, and you're going to tell your parents, "You're modeling for me anxiety with money. I understand that's your experience. I'm giving it back to you. I feel good about money. I feel abundant." And you're going to immediately notice a little shift with just that. And with repeated practice, or listening to hypnosis on our app about money, or having a session with someone on our team, it'll go even deeper. But that is the first hidden reason, is that it was modeled for you by your parents. Whatever their anxieties were, they showed you adults have those anxieties when you were a child, and now you've got to give those back to them and create for yourself a new set of beliefs and a new way of relating to your world. Hidden reason number 2 also stems back to childhood, and it is about the kids we grew up with. It's such sort of a random thing for so many of us, right? We just are born to our parents in the town that they chose to live in, and then we go to the school we get into or that's available. And now these people are going to impact the formation of our subconscious mind. These other children who are being raised by these other parents, and they have such an inordinate amount of power, and they're just little kids. But if you ever had an experience where you were on the playground and someone said something mean to you, and you can still remember it today, and it was 30 years ago, that planted a seed of anxiety that has grown into a magnificent tree over time. And yet the person who said it was 5 years old themselves, and they had anxieties being modeled for them by their parents, like we talked about in hidden reason number 1. So we have to stop allowing the weight of these interactions with the kids we grew up with, who teased us or who had beliefs that we no longer agree with, or who we wanted to be in their group so badly that we compromised ourselves in order to fit in. They still have all this power, and yet they were children themselves. So again, a very quick thing that you can do just to get headed onto the right path is to close your eyes, relax all of the muscles in your face, relax all of the muscles in your body. Imagine going back to that playground or that sleepover or, Sunday school class, wherever the thing happened that you can still recall. If you can still recall it today, it's in your subconscious, real deep. And say to that child, "You are 5 years old. I really wanted to be friends with you then. I really cared about your opinion then. The truth is, you were a child, I was a child. I am now an adult, but in my subconscious, you're still a 5-year-old child. And I am giving back everything that you said to me, and I am taking back all of my power. I am taking back all of my agency. I'm taking back all of my independence, and I am recognizing at an incredibly deep level, you are a 5-year-old child. And all the power you once had over me is now gone." Once again, you can go deeper with a Grace Method Hypno Coach or listening to recordings about this, but just that tiny little practice, if you do it, 3 to 5 days in a row, you're going to feel so much better about the anxieties that were planted back in childhood. Before I get to hidden reason number 3, I want to remind you that if you want to go deeper, we have created a Grace app that includes hundreds of powerful hypnotherapy recordings. To date, we have thousands and thousands of happy customers with a 5-star average rating, and I would so love for you to be the next person who downloads our app, puts on your headphones, closes your eyes, presses play, and allows us to do the work to reprogram your subconscious mind. We add new content all the time, and I know you're going to absolutely love it. Hidden reason number 3, I think this one is going to surprise you. It is food. Now, you might know that food can be a contributing factor to anxiety, but you might not know that the root of that food addiction lies in the subconscious mind, which is where we need to access it in order to reprogram it. So there are countless studies out there that show processed foods in particular lead to depression and anxiety. They are not meant to be in our bodies, and they are in our bodies in overwhelming quantities, more and more so at younger and younger ages. our body doesn't know what to make of these compounds and chemicals. It results in inflammation, and inflammation can lead to anxiety. So how do we use hypnosis and accessing the subconscious to relieve you of this hidden source of anxiety? Once again, you can relax all the muscles in your face, relax all the muscles in your body. And if you know that there are processed foods in particular, dairy, some wheat products, sugary products, some sort of fast food addiction, or habit, even if it's just going to Starbucks every single morning that is not serving you, but it is so deeply ingrained in your day that the thought of not having that habit becomes anxiety inducing in and of itself, that's where we want to start. So let's start with the coffee habit. It's very ritualistic for most people. They go to their favorite place, they go there on the way to work, and we're going to talk to the part that is addicted to that ritual first. So relax all the muscles in your face, relax all the muscles in your body, and imagine speaking to the part of you that is addicted to that ritual and say, I want you to know I love you. I want you to know you are perfect and complete, even when you choose a new ritual. And that part's going to be so confused. Like, where did you come from? What do you mean? But it's going to strike a chord. And then you're going to say, and I want you to know, even when you change this ritual, you will be safe. Now that this part is thinking brand new thoughts it's never thought before, now that you've gotten into the subconscious, there is a new way of being that is still safe, and you will still be perfect and complete even when you choose a new way. We're going to let it go off to the side and decompress and let the subconscious do what it does, which is assimilate new information over time. And then you're going to speak to the actual addiction part. And you're going to say, now I'd like to speak to the part that is addicted to caffeine. Or I'd like to speak to the part that's addicted to sugar, or the part that's addicted to gluten. And you're going to tell it, I know you are addicted to this food, but it's hurting us. It's hurting us physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And just like with other addictions, I want to be free. The addiction is keeping us trapped, but I want to be free. I am committed to avoiding relapsing, which means we are removing this addiction from our lives for good. And once again, that's a lot to tell your subconscious, but it's going to assimilate that information over time. The first time you speak to that addiction part, you're going to ruffle some feathers, right? It's not only recognizing it's an addiction, it's recognizing it's got to go, and it's recognizing that it's going to be okay without it. So practice this again a couple days in a row. You're going to start to notice positive improvement over time. And this area in particular, I highly recommend getting additional support through our app or through Grace Method Hypnotherapist. Now that we have covered 3 hidden reasons for anxiety that live in the subconscious mind, you can see we just scratched the surface of these 3 topics. I could talk about just these 3 topics for 5 hours each and we wouldn't cover everything. Not to mention, these are only 3 of dozens, potentially hundreds of hidden sources of anxiety. So I would love to know in the comments below, which of the 3 that we covered today resonated for you most? What was your biggest aha moment about that area of your life? And then if there are additional hidden sources of anxiety that you'd like to know more about or discuss, let me know what interests you and if you'd like me to make future content on it. Implementing lasting change in your life begins with understanding the subconscious. Once you understand the subconscious, you can use hypnosis to effortlessly make lasting, permanent, positive changes in your life. I'm so excited you took the time today to watch this video in full. It is absolutely going to help you feel better. And please, please come back and share with us in the comments once that happens. I will be so excited to celebrate with you. Thanks again for watching. I'm Grace Smith. Ciao.